home of the world champion Dallas Cowboys, Texas Stadium. It's round 9 of the AMA Supercross Series. Hello, everyone. Art Ekman along with David Bailey. Jeremy McGrath now with 8 straight Supercross wins. Should he win here tonight in Dallas, number 9? Well, we might be thinking the unthinkable. Can he win them all?
Well, from what I've seen, I think he can. He's won with the whole shot. He's come from behind. He's been in battles with Huffman. And anybody that's won 8 in a row, what's 6 more? And
with such a string, you know it takes talent, but there's a good deal of luck involved as well.
Definitely, and I think that's what it's going to take for everyone else. But there's a lot of riders that can beat him, that have the speed. The whole Kawasaki team, really. Emig, Huffman, and Hughes have all been getting a little closer to Jeremy each week, and Bradshaw is getting tired of finishing seconds and thirds.
Last week was a good example in Houston of talent being mixed with luck. On lap 4, Emig and Hughes ahead of McGrath.
I feel lucky that the guys fell down. I don't think it was smart riding on maybe their parts, but I was happy to be in third at that point.
You know, we were both racing for the lead. You know, I was trying to use my head and, you know, and just to stay out front. And, you know, all 3 of us Kawasaki guys, you know, with Damon, Rhino, and myself, you know, we were all putting the pressure, you know, like on McGrath. And, I mean, you know, like there's 2 sides of the story. There's my side, you know, and then there's Rhino's side. I mean, you know, the end result, you know, is that, you know, like I finished way back, and that's not where I wanted to be.
I thought I had a lot more speed than he did at the time, so I tried to get around him a little early. I thought I had the pass, you know, done, but at the last minute he cut over, you know, protecting his line, which, you know, is kind of normal. So it kind of caught me by surprise, and I got on the brakes, but you know, I guess there wasn't enough time, and we bumped a little bit and fell down, you know. Stuff out there happens so quick, it's like, you know, you don't really have too much time to set up for it. You know, stuff happens really quick, and you got to think real fast, so stuff like that happens all the time.
I mean, you know, Rhino, he rides, you know, real aggressive. I mean, you know, he goes wide open, and he races real hard. You know, like, and we know that when you're racing against him, you know, because he's been that way forever. So, I mean, you know, it's just, you know, it's just one of those things.
Taking a look at the Suzuki 250 points race, Jeremy McGrath has already eliminated a dozen riders who have scored points this year for that championship. Rounding out the top 5, Huffman, Emig, Bradshaw, and LaRocco. Here in Dallas this evening, another East-West 1-2-5 matchup. And this year, that means Kevin Windham versus Mikel Pichon.
Well, both these guys are spectacular to watch. And although Windham has beaten Pichon in their first 2 matchups, I was really impressed with the way Pichon came from behind in Houston so quickly up to 2nd place. And I will look for some fireworks here tonight. And this is a key race, really, for both of those riders.
For the moment, we didn't ride together. Even last weekend, I got a best start. He got the all shot, so I can't tell you exactly where am I between with Kevin, because the only time I beat him, that was last weekend and during the heat race. I think I have the same speed than him. He rode very good. I was very surprised last week because he come from the injury, and I don't know. I think when he's gonna ride a 250, he's gonna be very fast, but I need to beat him once.
You know, Pichon's a great rider. I was a little disappointed in last year's performance again against him, but you know, luckily, even though I'm on the West Coast this year, that I still have opportunities to race him, and you know, kind of like to redeem myself this year. You know, last year wasn't the best of performances, and this year everything's coming around for me. So you know, it's great to have all these East-West races. That way, you know, it's not just, you know, well, you know, Kevin didn't get to race, you know, a certain amount of riders. Kevin's getting to race everybody, and you know, it really feels good to go out and win against the East-West combined.
Here's the Suzuki 1-2-5 point standings in the East. John Dowd with an 11-point lead over Pichon. In the Western Division, Windham with a 6-point lead on Dobb, with only 3 races left on the schedule. It is true, Jeremy McGrath has 8 in a row, but Dallas, this track has not been kind to him the last couple of years.
No, it sure hasn't. In '94, he was leading the race, and Kudrowski was catching him the whole time, and finally in the last lap, went for the pass. Jeremy would not let off, and he crashed. And then last year, the torrential downpour, Jeremy went down the first corner, had to come from behind. And this track has been tough for him. He has struggled here, and I think he reminds me a little bit of Michael Jordan. And whenever there's an extra challenge, he does all the extra necessary preparation to rise to the occasion.
As we leave you, let's check out the upcoming Supercross schedule. Look for a race nearest you. Note that May 18th, the last race of the season, has been changed. It's now scheduled for Denver's Mile High Stadium. AMA Supercross on ESPN2 is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and ATVs. Get to your dealer now for the lowest deals of the year. And by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it.
It has a 937cc liquid-cooled 16-valve engine with straight intake tracks, adjustable suspension, and an ultra-rigid twin-tube diamond-type frame. Best of all, it's comfortable on any road. The Suzuki RF 900R.
Right now, check out Honda's Solo promo. With no down payment, you can get the Shadow American Classic Edition for just $202 a month. Or the Red Hot Magna for $157 a month. Even the Shadow BLX for just $119 a month. How low can we go? Try financing as low as 9.9% APR. And no down payment on selected motorcycles and ATVs. Plus, special cash rebates on selected Shadows and all Magnas. So get to your Honda dealer now. We can't stay this low for long.
Back at Texas Stadium in Dallas for round 9 of the AMA Supercross Series. Last week in Houston, the track builder said, hey, let's get it more technical. Well, as we look at the Suzuki track map here in Dallas, the layout also looks difficult, Dave Bailey, especially when you consider the surface.
Well, I think it's as technical for the track designers this week as it is for the riders because the ground is so hard. It's like a chewed-up street. Very difficult to work with. It's basically the same layout as what we've seen all year, but the two new sections, the whoop section is very uneven. Those whoops are not the same size. Try to mess up the rider's rhythm. And then the finish line jump, one of the biggest we've seen all year.
The qualifying procedure for Supercross is as follows. Each rider runs in one of 2 qualifying heats, with the top 4 finishers headed directly to the main event and getting the best gate positions. Now the rest of the field goes on to the semifinals, where the top 5 from each get the transfer to the main, and there's only one more opportunity to make some money, the last chance qualifier, where only the top 2 fill out the 20-rider field. You see Jeff Emig now getting his goggles on. Damon Huffman, Jeff Emig, number 2 and number 3 in the 250-point standings. Ryan Hughes and Brian Swank also in the top 10 in this qualifying heat. Let's get out of Marty Reed.
Guys, keep your eyes on number 10, Damon Huffman. He injured his right wrist earlier this week, and it is very, very sore. He says it's really giving him a hard time on these triple jumps on the landing.
Also in this field as they get ready to go is Doug Henry in his comeback here. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Combs joining us in the booth as they take off from the gate. Out in front now, edged out, it's Doug Henry, number 15, cutting the corner first with Emig to the inside, number 2. Jeff Emig taking over the lead.
And Brian Stone goes down the first corner. He's trying to get it restarted, and there, Emig, what a shot. All these first 4 guys, you can throw a blanket over them.
Okay, behind Emig is Michael Craig, number 17, Honda of Troy. This is quite a race for Michael Craig, coming off a broken leg. Missed only 3 races, but a month of action. Only ran 2 days this week, number 17.
Yeah, he's ran on one of the hardest packed tracks I've ever seen. I know it hurts him when he lands off these jumps.
Emig getting pressured by Craig. Then we've got Henry. Henry in a battle right now with Ryan Hughes.
I think Mike Craig is really awesome whenever it's hard packed like this. He's got good throttle control. He likes it. I talked to Ryan Hughes earlier, and he liked the track surface as well. This is what he's been practicing on, and Doug Henry has been getting stronger and stronger every week.
Over that huge finish line jump, it is Emig, Craig, Henry holding his own, along with Hughes in 4th position. The top 4 going to the main event. Jimmy Button is on the bubble in number 5.
If you look down here at the end of the whoops, Damon Huffman is way back there. Marty's right. He seems to be having a lot of trouble tonight with the hard-packed track with that sore wrist.
Could be that wrist that Marty Reed pointed out.
I talked to Larry Ward after practice, and he said no matter how perfect he jumped each of the triples, he still landed so hard it hurt, no matter what. That's got to really be bothering him.
We're going to bite down on the other side of the finish line jump. They're trying to clear it away.
I think what we might see here, Art, is that because of the slick surface, it's really difficult to pass, and the only way to do it is to get in there and get real physical. We might see that from both Craig and Ryan Hughes. These guys ride like that.
We see Emig out in front. Mike Craig gets passed by Henry. Craig goes down. Henry with a good black pass, and it's Ryan Hughes moving into third, number 5 on the Kawasaki. They just go by Todd DeHoop, who had a big crash coming off the finish line jump.
You know, Emig jumped that whole set there right after the corner where Craig crashed. Craig tried to do it, left himself wide open on the inside, and that gave Henry a chance to scoot in there and took him down.
And Ryan Hughes is giving Doug Henry the chase for second and third.
Well, every time they come to the whoop-de-doo section, that's where Ryan Hughes really shines, and you can see Doug Henry just move right over on him. He could hear him.
Big battle for the transfer spot. Jimmy Button, and here comes Damon Huffman trying to make it in the main and not go to the semifinals. We see Doug Henry in second, and Ryan Hughes in third right now with Emig out in front.
Emig and Hughes rode so good last week and unfortunately took each other out. Hughes didn't feel like he did anything wrong. It just feels like now that he's riding that good, he's going to do all that he can to get up front. He's doing it right now.
Starting to make a few mistakes, Davey and David. It could be his endurance just isn't there. He told us earlier his arms and legs feel strong, but it's those back muscles and stomach muscles that balance the bike and that they had to cut through for the broken back operation.
Yeah, coming back to a track like this is the place where he won the first Supercross of his career. You know he's going to be pumped. You know he's going to, like, forget all about that stuff as much as he can.
He's still giving Ryan Hughes a big battle as Doug Henry in second place. The two bikes rub. Doug Henry, number 15, number 5, Ryan Hughes. Oh, the fans here in Texas Stadium are getting a delightful chase for second place as Emig now has moved way out in front.
And Doug Henry is doing a really good job of blocking Ryan Hughes. He can't go anywhere else out of the groove or else he's getting stuck and riding in those marbles. So Ryan's having a tough time.
I was going to say, it's ironic that Hughes would be hesitant to pull the trigger on Henry, who's not even his teammate after what he did last week with Emig.
Okay, we'll be back with the conclusion of our first qualifying heat as Emig, Henry, Hughes, Huffman, and Button, the top 5. We'll be back in a moment.
Through the Key Buying Group, we now offer you Tappan, Magic Shift, and Frigidaire. I told you before, you don't have to drive 25 miles and walk a quarter mile to buy a good appliance at the right price. Here's 2 examples. This washer only $2.84. I can't tell you the brand, but it starts with a W and has 9 letters. This Tappan 15-foot refrigerator, only $4.34. We can save you even more on high-end models. Of course, we offer financing and delivery. Take us to the Appliance Center, 814 West Commercial.
Mom, why don't you get some more video games? Please, please, more video games. Please, please, more video games. Please, please, more video games.
They want video games, but for some odd reason, you don't want to go out. Now, through the miracle of cable TV, Sega Channel brings the games to you. Up to 50 games a month for less than 50 cents a day.
Thank you, Mother.
Get hooked in.
Hooking. Rule number 69, slow whistle. Rule number 29, gross misconduct. Rule number 25, to play the game, use a puck. The Lightning look to strike the Penguins in the Igloo tomorrow at 7:30. The NHL rules on ESPN2.
Welcome back to Texas Stadium. 250 Supercross qualifying underway. Heat number 1, our leader. You see him there, number 2, Jeff Emig. And behind Emig is Doug Henry, who is now pulling a little bit of lead on Ryan Hughes in third. And Damon Huffman has, while we were away, moved into 4th place. Although Michael Craig, a hard pack specialist, David Bailey, is moving up, though, on Huffman.
Exactly. I was just going to say, although Huffman seems to be on the move, moving up a little bit, Craig's catching him, so Craig's really putting the traction down, finding it everywhere, which everyone's having a tough time getting out of the corners and hooking up. The Emig seems to be doing a pretty good job of it, though. This was a little bit like San Diego in terms of the surface, and Emig was fast there.
You know, after 4 bad getaways at the gate, Emig has been getting terrific starts lately, and it's been a big factor in positioning himself in contention in the last few races.
Yeah, after that really bad start, that's exactly what Jeff needs, but I'm telling you, he needs to be there at the end of the race, too. If he could just ride with his eyes forward in the main event, not watch what Jeremy's doing, I think we'd see a whole new Jeff Emig the following weekend.
I think that's the key. He starts thinking about Jeremy. Even if Jeremy's in 5th and Emig's out front, he's still wondering where he is, and he sort of draws him in closer. It's good news for Jeremy. He's got that advantage of being able to intimidate people by winning so many races. That's all they think about is what Jeremy's doing out there.
Emig with the luxury of slowing down and being able to get away with it as he goes through the lappers. As Doug Henry's coming off the tabletop now. Checkered flag for Jeff Emig. Doug Henry will be second. Ryan Hughes third. And Huffman right on his tail end for fourth place. That's the top four. We'll be back in a moment.
Fact, it'll rain the day after you wash the car. Fact, you will never date a supermodel. Fact, you can't get a great deal on a great bike. Wow! Well, fact this. Right now, during Suzuki Fest 96, you could pick up a new V-Twin Intruder 1400 or a stunning RF 900R for only 9.9% APR. And we'll top it out with $300 toward your choice of added accessories. Free! But you better hurry. Suzuki Fest 96 ends April 30th. Oh yeah, one more fact. There's always lots of legal stuff at the end of a commercial.
The Wall Street Journal keeps you on the cutting edge with news and insights that can affect you personally and professionally. Subscribe now and have the Journal delivered to your home or office. Now, with your paid 10-week subscription, you'll also receive our gift of 2 weeks free. That's 12 weeks of the Journal for just 65 cents a day. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call now, 800-346-2900. That's 800-346-2900 for the Wall Street Journal.
Most nights we get our highlights, satellite dishes, but not always.
He's here.
Make a hole, people. Stop. Here's the highlight. You might want to take out the third quarter.
You can't stay?
I got to get back. I have early practice tomorrow.
Here at Dallas, we've completed our opening qualifying heat. These four riders earning their way to the main event. Jeff Emig, Doug Henry with a great performance. And Ryan Hughes and Damon Huffman getting into the top four. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with our first winner of the night. Marty?
Well, you guys talked about it when the man named McGrath isn't on the track. Jeff Emig seems to be able to really focus now. You made this victory. Is that always in the back of your mind? It seems like everybody keeps thinking about Jeremy all the time.
Yeah, well, you only have to because he's been pretty dominant. But like you said, I went out, in a race where, I got the whole shot, and there's a lot of guys riding good tonight, but I had it in my head that I was just going to look forward, and that I was going to race forward, and, I was a little bit cautious that time, but but I feel real good for the main event. I mean, I'm ready to win this thing.
All right, if we put Jeremy on that track in the main event, he's going to be there. Can you do the same thing?
Sure I can. Yeah, I most definitely can. I think I'm in the best shape of my life, and Kawasaki has given me a motorcycle that's just awesome. It's real noticeable here where the track is real tough, and the track is real hard packed and blue groove. And, the thing just works great, and I think that's going to, the motorcycle, and me using my head, I think that can give me the victory.
Jeff Emig, heat race number 1, your winner.
Okay, Marty, the rest of the 250 hopefuls are at the starting gate for qualifying heat number 2. You see Skip Norfolk along with Jeremy McGrath. McGrath yet to put on the goggles. Lots of times Skip has to wake him up for this qualifying heat when he goes into the qualifying heat number 2. He looks awake right now, Davey.
Yeah, you know what? Jeremy is so calm just all the time. That's one thing about this guy. He puts himself in a position to win every single race he enters. And that way, when it comes down to the end, it's just a question of talent and speed. And right now, he's got more than everybody.
I think that's for sure. He's got the talent and speed, and he knows that if he's going to get a challenge in the early laps, and he knows that for sure, especially from Emig. You can hear how confident he was just after winning that first heat. And
we see
patient enough to wait.
With the Cowboys World Champion Cowboys helmet on. Number 34 must be a running back.
Yeah, you know what? Ezra's been going for those cheers. I remember in Atlanta, he showed up with an Atlanta Braves baseball jersey and hat. That's a world championship team. Dallas is a world championship team.
More important, Ezra Lusk is racing a lot better, especially last week in Houston.
Yeah.
Some of it's rubbing off.
Yeah, Ezra's one of those guys right now who's racing for a job in 1997. He really needs some results. He's been getting it recently. We'll see if he can just keep it going tonight.
Okay, Jeremy McGrath, you see him there along with Mike LaRocco and Damon Bradshaw tied for 4th in the points. Phil Lawrence, the top privateer. Lusk, Brown, Ward, Albertine, Antonez, just some of the riders here in the second qualifying heat. There's Larry Ward. Ward, coming off an injury from Europe, has had a slow start of the season and just hasn't got it in gear yet. For Honda of Troy, he's hoping tonight might be that night.
And in the practice, Mike LaRocco cased it on one of the triples really hard. And there was a shot of a tire right there. It had grooves in the top of the knobbies. A lot of the mechanics had little guns. They were cutting grooves in the knobbies to try to get more traction out here. It's that drastic. But as I started to say, LaRocco cased it, and because the ground's so hard packed, it broke the linkage. And they had to do a complete overhaul on that motorcycle. So hopefully everything's back together and he's going to be comfortable on it.
Kept Mike LaRocco Sr. busy then.
There was several mechanics working on that bike to get it done in time.
Really? Good friend of Jeremy McGrath, Grayson Goodman, is in this heat trying to qualify. And, of course, Jeremy unusually stayed here between the off time from Houston last week to race on Goodman's practice track. Jeremy McGrath with a decent start. LaRocco fades. It is McGrath, number 1, taking the long shoot. Buddy Antonez, number 22. And Jeremy McGrath rips by him in the whoops with Bradshaw in 3rd. LaRocco in 5th in a battle with Ezra Lusk. Now LaRocco takes advantage of Ezra as they go over the tremendous triple.
You know, I noticed that Greg Albertine's back out there after that crash last week. All 3 of the Suzuki riders together. Any one of those guys gets on the podium. It does so much for the team around, team confidence. Let's see if they can just keep each other away from one another in this heat race.
Into the monster tray, and out of it is Jeremy McGrath with Antonez, a surprise right behind him. Now, Buddy Antonez, of course, known as being second place to Jeremy McGrath as teammates both years that Jeremy won the 1-2-5s. There goes Antonez. There goes Bradshaw. And LaRocco inherits second place with Ezra Lusk and Albertine and Ward right behind him.
And I was just about to bring up the fact that Bradshaw has got to get around Antonez on this technical track. You can see Bradshaw, you can see how mad he was that happened. He had nowhere to go, really. Antonez's bike flipped right in front of him. He tried to duck underneath it. Now Bradshaw's riding around slow. Appears that he's going to have to go to the semi.
A 6-second lead for Jeremy McGrath. Let's take another look now and see exactly what happened.
Okay, watch his second-place rider, Antonez, does a nosedive. His front wheel clips the top of that plateau. Bradshaw nowhere to go. Both these riders lucky to get away unhurt. That was a scary moment.
Jeremy McGrath in first place goes for the big triple once again. He's got a big cushion on Mike LaRocco in second place. It is Ezra Lusk in 3rd with Albertine in 4th, and again Larry Ward in 5th. The top 4, remember, are the only riders going to the main event.
They talk about Jeremy being lucky. Well, imagine if he would have got off the line in 3rd. He would have been right in the middle of that. So you make your own luck. Jeremy lets his problems all happen behind him.
Let's go to Marty Reed and check out Mike LaRocco Sr.
We're down here with Mike LaRocco Sr. Mike, you got to be extremely happy second place, especially all the work you had to do after that practice crash.
Yeah, we are. We had a little work to do, and maybe it'll pay off for us here.
Tell me the truth. How close was it till you're not making the show?
We had plenty of time. We had a lot of help from Suzuki, and that was not a problem.
I got to tell you guys, elbows were flying, but he's here and he's running strong.
And right now there's some elbows flying on the track, as you can see, a possibility. Here comes Ezra Lusk, number 34. Can't quite take Mike LaRocco, number 8, as they head into the mini triple before the monster try.
You know, again, Art, it's really important for each of these Suzuki riders, all 3 of them, to do well here tonight. Let's just hope they don't take each other out.
Well, we've seen that already as Kawasaki. It was a complete accident. However, Ryan Hughes just trying to get aggressive and get up, put a rider between himself and McGrath, and unfortunately took out he and his teammate.
LaRocco coming down hard off the finish line jump, and Ezra Lusk catching up to him a bit as they go into that long straightaway. Ezra trying to get momentum to jump the 3. Didn't quite do it, did he? Okay, we'll be right back in a moment as Jeremy McGrath leads the second qualifying heat. More from Texas Stadium after this.
6 cylinders, 6 carburetors. The biggest motor you can get on 2 wheels. You can't wait. Valkyrie, May 25th.
600 at a few of your favorite curves. You'll like how it feels, how it looks, and how much fun it is to ride. Pretty soon, you'll realize that life will never be the same. The Suzuki Katana.
Rejoining Supercross qualifying from Dallas, 4 more riders looking for top gate positions in the main event. Out of this heat number 2, it's Jeremy McGrath on top. But here is the battle for second place. Mike LaRocco, who's had trouble with starts in the past, took advantage of a crash with Damon Bradshaw and Buddy Anthonez to move into second place. But Ezra Luck has been hounding him all the way.
I noticed that time Ezra went away from that line where he was tripling after the first turn, trying something different. I think he's setting LaRocco up for a pass on this lap.
It looks to me like he's a little faster, Davey, than LaRocco. He's got a little bit better timing. You can see right there, he's trying to go wide and set him up to go to the inside. It just shows that when there's this kind of caliber of rider out there, there's one fast line. If you go anywhere else, you actually lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, Longinger trying to convince Ezra Lusk that LaRocco is slow, right, Davey?
Yeah, and we're back to that teammates thing, too. When you don't have a lot of berms in the corner, it's really difficult to pass one unless you get in there, throw an elbow, scrape some paint, make some contact. Beyond doing that, you just got to wait for a mistake.
Here comes Ezra over the finish line, jump bar to bar, the 2 Suzukis. LaRocco goes wide. Ezra on that slick track lost his advantage.
Looked like he was ice skating on the inside of the corner that time.
It really did, didn't it?
Well, Lusk has been doing a good job. You see again here, he goes wide, using the berm to try to get some momentum. And also kind of dodging that roost. I can tell you, as hard as this ground is, every time you get roosted by a guy, it's like a bunch of little razor blades cutting into you. It hurts.
Not only this track, there's not any big rocks there, but it is so hard packed that you get dirt clods that act just like bullets coming off. I noticed a lot of injuries coming off the track in practice today.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the guys are wearing chest protectors under their jerseys. Hey, you know what? It's a shame that Jeremy's so far up front because it's really hard to gauge what his speed's like right now compared to what we just saw Emmink do.
Well, I can tell you this, okay? He's about 11 seconds ahead of Mike LaRocco and Lusk. Lusk, who finished 4th last week. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that his speed is pretty darn good right now.
Okay, we might have a battle for the final transfer spot coming up pretty soon if we have time left, because Albertine is fading, and here comes Phil Lawrence as LaRocco and Lusk continue to go at it. Ezra Lusk takes Mike LaRocco, moving into second place. The crowd reacts well.
What a great move by Lusk. And I'm surprised that LaRocco let that happen 2 times in a row, and Lusk that time covered it.
There you see Ezra Lusk coming through the whoops. Right behind him, LaRocco. Then it's Albertine, and for the final transfer spot is Phil Lawrence.
Lawrence actually came out of nowhere. I really didn't notice him very much, and all of a sudden he's starting to put a lot of pressure on Albertine, who's actually gaining a little bit on LaRocco now.
Let's take a closer look at that confrontation between Ezra Lusk and Mike LaRocco right here as they come over the finish line jump.
Well, this is the second time that Lusk had that line. This time he goes all the way wide on purpose, cuts off the line to Mike LaRocco. I don't think he really meant to do that. It was a clean pass, very smart by Lusk.
White flag lap. Jeremy McGrath has already come over the finish line jump.
McGrath is hooking up everywhere. His lines are making sense. He's pitching the bike. He's holding it tight everywhere. He's doing everything right.
Phil Lawrence has moved bar to bar with Albertine for 4th place. That's the final transfer spot. And we follow Jeremy McGrath around the track as Albertine has his hands full holding on to the final transfer.
McGrath's showing off for the crowd now already. I mean, it's unbelievable, this guy. No matter what kind of track they build, no matter who's in his heat race, he just keeps winning. Now the crowd anticipating a knack-knack in the final lap.
There he goes. Oh, that was a wide knack-knack. One of the best runs of the year.
How do you even compete with a guy like that when he's on a rush like he is right now? It's his world. The rest of these guys are just racing in it.
Well, obviously you don't. 8 in a row. No one really has competed with him.
The checkered flag is just waiting for Jeremy McGrath as it waves in the air. We anticipate the second place finish by Ezra Lusk, a 3rd place finish from Mike LaRocco, and the final transfer spot is Albertine, now with an advantage on number 13, Phil Lawrence. There's the final transfer to the main coming out of the second qualifying heat. Okay, our heat winner, Jeremy McGrath. What's new? His impressions when we return to Texas Stadium in Dallas.
You've heard about it. You've read about it. You're seeing it now. There's only one thing left to do. Live it. The AMA Supercross. The extreme sport that started it all. Feel the adrenaline rush. April 6th, Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. April 13th, the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And April 20th, Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. The AMA Supercross. If you don't go, you won't know.
Okay, so with America Online, I get the latest stock and mutual fund information, send email to stay in touch with family and friends, see photos of flowers before I pay for them, easy access to the internet, get the latest news and sports, and all of this is mine 24 hours a day.
And that's just the beginning.
I think he's got it.
Okay, hook me up.
Call now for your free 15-hour preview of America Online. Call 1-800-816-4848 now.
Winning a single Supercross is no easy feat. Jeremy McGrath has won 3 Supercross championships in a row. For Honda, that makes 8 straight. Are you up for that?
Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Combs in the booth with Marty Reed down below. Supercross from Dallas. And here's our official look at the Suzuki top 4 results, in which 3 Suzukis are in there, except for Jeremy McGrath on top. Lusk, Larocco, and Albertine going to the main event. So Marty's made his way from the mechanics area now to the podium with our winner.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Look who's here. One of the guys up in the booth, Davey Kuhn, said, you know, these other guys are just racing in your world, almost like they're visitors.
Well, I think that I would like to think, yeah, okay, they're racing my world, but I think the other guys should concentrate more on racing the track and their practice and try and catch up. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I can win every race, but I think that I have a really good program going, and I mean, it's hard for them to beat me.
I remember a while back, we had Rick Johnson. He said in the old days, the guys in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th would get in a freight train, reel in the leader. But these guys, we were watching a battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, right on down through the line. They were beating on each other, which just gave you open track.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there. You know, both heat races were tough, and I mean, you just got to get out in front on a track like this. It's really slick, and my bike's working really good. And I mean, you got to get out in front.
Well, we'll see him in the main. Can he make it 9 in a row? We'll find out.
He's got the determined look here at Texas Stadium, that's for sure. The semifinals are known for some of our best racing, so stay tuned. It's all coming up next.
Hi, I'm Tim Brill at Ozark Mountain Motors. Hank and I have got some great buys for you, like this 87 Volkswagen Jetta with no money down and only $122 a month. With $300 down, you can drive this 92 Mustang LX and only pay $180 a month. And this 94 Chevy extended cab pickup with 350 and Silverado trim, only $15,985. Or this 88 Nissan 300ZX with T-tops and leather, only $215 a month. So come find a car you like and a payment you can live with at Ozark Mountain Motors.
Looking for action? Looking for thrills? Looking for a chance at true romance? No matter what you're looking for, you'll find it on Cinemax. Because with Max and Max 2, you've always got a choice. Here's how it works. Say Cinemax is playing it for laughs, but you're ready for some fast-paced action. Try Max 2. There's always something different on Max and Max 2. The choice is yours. Cinemax or Cinemax 2. You know what you want. Now come and get it.
Finest drivers in the world's fastest cars.
This week's Honda Flashback, we'll take a look at last year's Supercross in the mud. Right here at Texas Stadium, the rain came through the hole in the roof and turned the track into a quagmire. And as the gate dropped for the start of the main, the pros looked like amateurs as they tried to negotiate the slippery track. It was McGrath's worst start of the year, 13th place after lap 1. But by the end of the second lap, he was already into 4th and charging. But out front, it was Doug Henry, electrifying the crowd, jumping the triple despite the mud. And behind him, although Jeremy McGrath spent his share of time on the ground just like everyone else, it was the muddy conditions that opened up opportunities for riders like Todd DeHoop, who finished 5th, and Phil Lawrence, the privateer, in his best finish of the season, finishing in 4th. And another mud specialist, John Dowd, had his best ride of the year, finishing in 3rd. But it was Doug Henry, the star of the evening, riding as if it were dry, picking up his first ever 250 career Supercross win.
1995, the Quagmire, in which Doug Henry prevailed. The 32nd board is up now for the 250 semifinal number 1. We've got Jimmy Button, Michael Craig, Denny Stevenson, Brian Swink. Good names to battle it out here in the semifinal number 1.
I would look for Craig to be really strong in this one. He was really strong in the heat race before he went down. I think he rides really good in this hard pack stuff. I already pointed that out. That the guys that can ride on are really going to shine tonight.
We might mention, too, that Quagmire, there were a lot of fans that stuck around in the rain for that, even though there's a hole in the stadium up above. But we've got a fantastic crowd here at Texas Stadium to watch the semifinal number 1. Michael Craig, number 17. Number 18 is Todd DeHoop, making the corner first, but cutting inside is Michael Craig.
Everyone through the first corner clean this time. Guys have been going down every time. Craig already opening up a pretty good lead to that whoop section. He's got that whoop section dialed. I think he's definitely the fastest rider in this semi. With the hole shot, he should be able to pull away, especially with DeHoop back there. DeHoop hasn't ridden the whole series. He's a little bit off the pace.
The top 5, remember, make it to the main event from the semifinals. It's Michael Craig, number 17. Number 18, Todd DeHoop. Number 85 is Henn. Number 24 is Stevenson. And then number 5, Jimmy Button. And Michael Craig goes down again. He piles up, makes everybody run around him that time. So out in front now, it is Todd DeHoop. Todd DeHoop leading the heat race last week in Houston for a few moments, but then faded back.
You know, Craig's been out ever since he got hurt about a month ago, so you know he's a little bit rusty. He's got the speed. He knows in his head he can go this fast, but he just doesn't have the timing right now.
That's right. He said he's only raced 2 days in preparation for the meeting. Take another look at Michael Craig and how that happened while he was leading this first semifinal round.
Well, it's after the triple. There's a tricky little double jump right here. He jumps a little bit too far. He gets onto that slick surface, loses the front end just a little bit, and then the back end came out. Caught him by surprise. And all it was just the timing was a little bit off. Just like you pointed out, Davey, overjumped that double about a foot too far.
Number 18, Todd DeHoop. DeHoop with a very successful arena cross season this year, and this is his only second Supercross race. Hedden and Jimmy Button going at it.
You got to think that not only will DeHoop have to worry about fatigue late in this race, but Hedden as well, because Hedden was riding the 125 earlier.
That's right.
That's got to be tough to do, to go from a 125 to a 250 the same night. Try to get adjusted, and different riders and a different motorcycle. The power that you put down to the ground with the traction that's not there, got to be tough.
Swing has moved into the final transfer spot. Todd DeHoop, and there goes Jimmy Button. Button campaigning last year in Europe. He's trying to make his mark and come back and get another factory ride. A former Team Suzuki rider in the 125.
He really came out smelling like a rose there, going to that corner in 3rd, and that corner is going to be interesting all night long. Jeremy pointed out last week in Houston, because of the similar design of being very slick, that it was almost better to be in 2nd. That was a great example right there of what it's like to be behind.
Hedden has moved into 2nd. DeHoop now in 3rd, and he's being pressed by Denny Stevenson with Brian Swink right on the tail. Michael Craig is trying to make his way up through the pack, has now moved back into 7th position.
He's got quite a way to go if he wants to get the qualified spot, and he almost lost in that corner again.
That same section, he underjumped, got a little out of control. Now Swink at the tail end of this group is starting to apply the pressure.
Jimmy Button out in front, Hedden in 2nd. Here's the battle for 3rd. We see it there. Todd DeHoop, Denny Stevenson, and Brian Swink, number 23, trying to make the quick cut. We'll be right back with the checkers flag and the finish of our first semifinal round from Texas Stadium in a moment.
First time you see it, you'll say 2 words, and the first one is holy. You can't wait. Valkyrie, May 25th.
NPSL, indoor soccer. It turns your living room into a rec room.
Fact, red lights last longer when you're in a hurry. Fact, there's always 10 hot dogs and only 8 buns. Fact, you can't get a great deal on a great bike. Well, fact this. Right now, during Suzuki Fest 96, you'll get all kinds of great deals on our hottest bikes, like the classic street cruiser Savage 650 for only $99 a month. Or get the responsive Katana 600 for only $139 a month. But you better hurry, because unlike your grandma's fruitcake, Suzuki Fest 96 won't last forever. And that's a fact.
Watch a little too much indoor lacrosse, Mike?
I'm sorry.
The Major Indoor Lacrosse League on ESPN2.
8 riders have already qualified for tonight's main event. 5 more trying right now the semifinal round number 1 to get to the main event. Jimmy Button, our leader, as we take a look at number 2, Brian Swank, number 23, I should say. Brian Swank, he is in 3rd place. It's Button, Hedden, Swank, Stevenson, and DeHoop, the field summary.
If we get a close race tonight, in the main event, I think we're going to see a lot of things going on in the section that loop before the finish line. That's the most technical sections of the racetrack tonight. Going the one way, then coming back going the other, where we saw Bradshaw get taken out by Antonez in the heat race. And it's right before the finish line, so we might see some fireworks there.
And also, it's ironic that with all the jumps out here, I mean, it looks like they took a spatula and cut this track out. With all the jumps out here, most of the passing is taking place on the surface, these flat, slick corners.
There you see Brian Swank, number 23, the Honda of Troy rider, and he's trying to put the press on Hedden, number 85.
I think he's a lot faster than Hedden. He caught up and went around to Hoop and Stevenson and has already put a big distance on him. His next prey is Hedden, and he's already closed the gap. Hedden probably start riding a little more defensive. He knows he's in the main regardless, so he may just let Swank by easily.
Here's the white flag. Final lap as Jimmy Button, number 100, is in the lead. Hedden, Swank, Stevenson.
There's that corner again. We just saw that. You know, if you were a team manager, you could be sitting down there in the stands trying to figure out what to tell your riders to do, and there's just nothing you can do. When you got the lead position there, you're almost handcuffed when you're on the inside. You have to react.
Well, if you go to the inside, you can't get hooked up coming out of the corner. The guy behind you goes wide, gets the drive off the berm. And if you go wide, he cuts underneath you. So you just have to go in there with a good lead. From what we've seen from McGrath, every time he gets to that section, there's no one pressuring him, so he's had it all his way.
Now, the top 5 pretty well defined, Davey Combs, because there's no one really. Michael Craig doesn't have the time to catch up to the 5th place bike, as we see number 100, Jimmy Button, taking his sweet time as he's got a big lead.
Yeah, you got to love guys like Hedden, though, that 3rd place guy. He's like Barry Carson. He's one of those privateers. He comes down here, he rides both classes so he can get as much track time as possible. And when he qualifies for both main events, that's a great victory for privateers.
Here's the checkers for Jimmy Button, and what a nice victory that is, taking his first semifinal round at Texas Stadium. Brian Swank, Jeff Hedden, Stevenson, and then Todd DeHoop makes it into the final round after failing to qualify in his first try in the first Supercross of the year last week. We'll once again be going to the victory stand when we return to Texas Stadium in Dallas.
It has a 937cc liquid-cooled 16-valve engine with straight intake tracks, adjustable suspension, and an ultra-rigid twin-tube diamond-type frame. Best of all, it's comfortable on any road. The Suzuki RF 900R.
You've heard about it. You've read about it. You're seeing it now. There's only one thing left to do. Live it. The AMA Supercross. The extreme sport that started it all. Feel the adrenaline rush. April 6th, Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. April 13th, the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And April 20th, Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. The AMA Supercross. If you don't go, you won't know.
Semifinal number 1 is now history here in Dallas as we return you back to AMA Supercross. These 5 riders taking a sigh of relief as they made the night's main event. Once again, it's Marty Reed on the scene with our winner.
Hey, I got to tell you guys, every time a privateer wins, a lot of people that are not heavily funded give a big cheer, and a big cheer for Jimmy Button. I have to ask you, first off, track conditions, we're seeing guys sliding all over the place. What's it like out there?
Yeah, it's really slippery out there. The Bridgestones are working good tonight, but, you know, there's nothing that's going to work really too great out there. It's really slippery. I have my Supercross track at home in Arizona isn't even this slippery, so it's tough conditions out there because you got to really pick your lines really well. And if you get out into the loose, you're either going to go down or get passed by a few people.
Then what can you do in the main?
In the main, I'm just going to try to go out, get a good start again, and, you know, hopefully, you know, just be able to get in there with those guys, get in there with Jeremy and Rhino, try to mix it up, and hopefully, you know, go for a top 5 tonight. I'd be real happy with that.
And if AMA would let him put studs in the tires, I bet you he'd do that too, guys.
You bet.
Okay, Team Extreme's Jimmy Button, who's had a couple of 20th-place finishes, but a couple of 8th-place finishes as well to show some of the speed that he does maintain on that track. He's looking now at a pretty good gate position for himself to maybe get a shot at that top 5. Here in the second qualifying round, as we take a look at the riders rather relaxed at the gate, we've got Lawrence, Brown, Ward, and Bradshaw. And as you pointed out, David Bailey, earlier, Bradshaw has got some venom working inside him right now.
Well, he was really irritated. You can see that he got off to a pretty good start. I'm sure he would have liked to have been ahead of Antonez, of course, but he saw a real opportunity to go out and run with McGrath. McGrath was just right there, and then all of a sudden it all went south as Antonez crashed right in front of him. He's smiling now, but he was irritated. You could see he stood there for a second, looked at Antonez like, man, you ruined my chance to get up there and try to run with McGrath.
It looks like that Bradshaw really gets along with Steve Butler there as mechanic. Davey?
Yeah, you know, I was going to say something about Bradshaw. Whenever he quit the sport at the end of the '93 season, one of the regrets he had was never getting a chance to really race with Jeremy McGrath. He comes along this year. We still haven't seen Jeremy and Damon go straight up together in a race. You know, it's either one comes through or something like that. Maybe tonight's the night.
It'd be a great evening for it, wouldn't it?
He's got to qualify yet, though.
With Jeff Emig revving it up as well. Mike Brown, you see him right there with Jeff Nutter, his mechanic. Still to put the goggles on.
Lawrence,
the 32nd board isn't up yet.
Yeah, Lawrence, I was about to say, Art, really came on strong towards the end of that. And I would look for him to do well.
Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Guys, I'm watching Mike Brown. You mentioned Jeff Nutter. They were looking over the bike there. They weren't happy with the way it was idling, and now it looks like it may have gotten it cleared out. But I just saw Mike shake his head. I'm not sure he's happy with this machine. Keep your eye on number 9.
Okay, the 32nd board has been up for a while now. It'll be interesting to see how those Honda Troy riders play it. Larry Ward in the semifinal round trying to make the main event. Ward's best finish on the year was an 8th place finish in Seattle, his old hometown, where he led the first 10 laps, you might remember. But coming off the injury, he faded. Number 9, Mike Brown, out in front. Phil Lawrence, number 13 on the inside, with Bradshaw to the outside, number 28. And they go down in that corner. But out in front, it's Mike Brown, number 9, the Honda of Troy, with Lawrence, Bradshaw, and then Larry Ward. Ward boxing out Bradshaw, but look at Damon come right back.
Palmer went down in the first corner, then between the triple, Buddy Antonez went off the track. He went back to the whoop section. He's going to have to do a whole new section.
Well, I'm sure that Damon Bradshaw is glad to see him out of the way.
Definitely, but he's still in third again. And he's got Lawrence and Brown to contend with.
Oh, we've got a battle going on here that is going to be a good one in semifinal number 2. Mike Brown, Bill Lawrence, Damon Bradshaw, and Larry Ward.
Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I think this might be the first time all year that not one of the Honda of Troy riders transferred directly from the heat races. We've had 2 in the last race. Now we got 2 out here right now.
Zacharias is in the 5th spot.
Bradshaw just made a mistake coming up to the finish line jump, and it really fouled up Larry Ward. He wasn't even able to jump it. Bradshaw coming out of that corner. You can see him getting sideways, lighting it up. Traction a real problem here tonight.
Mike Brown having some problems, and Phil Lawrence trying to make a move, number 13, and the whoops. Bradshaw, number 28. You see Larry Ward, number 6.
I pointed out that Bradshaw made a mistake, and you see how much time you lose. One mistake, and it takes forever to gain it all back. You almost have to hope for one to get back into it.
Certainly has been interesting this year, guys, the different types of tracks we've had and the adjustments that the crews have to make for the riders, not just the riders' adjustment.
Yeah, I think that diversity has really been a boon to the series. Last year we were seeing a lot of similarities, not only in the winner's circle, but also the tracks. Well, we got the same similarities in the winner's circle this year, but at least the rest of the racing's really good. And it's nice to come to a race, to come to a stadium, and you really don't know what these guys are going to get.
This is the section where Bradshaw lost time the lap before. He changed his line, went wide, jumped up onto the top of that plateau. That seems to be the fastest line to get up to the finish line jump. Bradshaw was onto it.
Numack is down, but he's out of the picture right now. As Mike Brown is our leader. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Yeah, guys, we can update you. Jeff talked to Jeff Nutter. I said, what was going on? He says, well, we thought the right throttle grip might be a little loose. Obviously, by the performance of Mike, it's not loose at all. It's doing just fine.
Mike Brown's holding his own out front now. After a couple of little bobbles, he's been pretty smooth as he cuts in for the mini triple before the monster tray.
It's starting to get so slick to that mechanics area. The fastest line is moving wider and wider, starting to run across the toes of the mechanics. Mechanics having to back up a little bit more each lap.
Great sound of the engines on this triple when they take off. We'll be right back with the finish of semifinal number 2 from Texas Stadium right after this.
These are no ordinary races. These are no ordinary riders. And this was no ordinary year. Honda, not your ordinary motorcycles.
How do you keep up with everything that happens in the NHL every day? You keep your eye on us. NHL Tonight, the ultimate half-hour wrap-up of the day that was in the NHL. Tuesday through Saturday at 10:30 or after the game, only on ESPN2.
It's over 8 feet long, and most of it's chrome. You can't wait. Valkyrie, May 25th.
Welcome back to our semifinal qualifying round number 2 as Mike Brown out in front. A good lead on Phil Lawrence, who has a good lead on Damon Bradshaw and Larry Ward. Crine has moved into the final transfer spot for the main event and has a pretty good advantage. So it's a well-defined semifinal round so far.
Yeah, you know, I know right now Honda of Troy is probably really thrilled to see Mike Brown out there. He's struggled since he moved up to the 250 Supercross Series this year. One thing that he should keep in mind, and that's to keep his confidence in place, they hired him to win the 125 Outdoor National Championship. They worry about Supercross with Mike Brown in 1997. He just needs to calm down and remember to take it one race at a time. I know that's a cliche, but Brown needs to remember that more than anything.
Right now, he's headed toward his 3rd semifinal win of the year. Brown has had good starts all year long. He's been able to get the machinery out in front, but he's faded. Here's Phil Lawrence in 2nd place, and no one really pressuring him. Bradshaw can't pick up on Phil yet.
I talked with Brown's mechanic, and part of it is that he gets out early, he gets running up with the Emmigs and the McGraths, and he gets nervous. When you're nervous, you can't do anything right. And if he can pick up some semi-wins, maybe even grab a heat race win, run up front in the main event, and start building some confidence, he will be a threat in the 250 class.
Well, Larry Ward has picked up some space on Bradshaw for 3rd place as we have the white flag lap. Lawrence in 2nd position. There's Bradshaw and Ward behind him.
It doesn't look to me like any of these guys, really. I think they all look pretty content at this point to be in the main event. It doesn't look like they're really charging it. I don't see the same aggression from Bradshaw I saw a little earlier.
Phil Lawrence, number 13 in 2nd place. Currently 8th place in the point standings in 250. That is the top independent team rider. An 8th place for Phil Lawrence.
I guess, to correct myself, you can't really see the aggression in these guys because you got to ride so cautiously on this slick surface. So it may be one or the other. I'm not sure. But Bradshaw's starting to gain a little bit of time on Lawrence down the lap.
That's why I can hardly wait for the main event to see if it is a close race and see what kind of mistakes might take place.
Well, that's one of the only hopes we'd have for a close race after what we saw McGrath doing that 2nd heat.
Phil Lawrence getting the pressure from Damon Bradshaw as the checker flag flies for a very happy Mike Brown as you saw he put the fist in the air. Lawrence, Bradshaw, Larry Ward, and Kevin Crine, number 32, the KTM rider, making the final transfer spot. So we'll hear from our semifinal 2 winner when we get back to the home of the Cowboys right here in Dallas.
TJ Sales wants to help your group, club, or business get noticed with imprinted sportswear. TJ Sales can make your upcoming family or class reunion, Bible school, team camp, or business promotion a success with your logo or design imprinted on t-shirts, hats, and jackets. TJ's has a complete art department and state-of-the-art production that can get your order done fast. Remember, when you're talking t-shirts, you're talking TJ Sales.
Talking t-shirts, talking TJ Sales.
Saturday night, get the most out of your TV with 3 channels of HBO. It's the premiere of a comedy hit on HBO. With a little help from David Spade, Chris Farley takes on his scheming stepmom, Bo Derek, Tommy Boy. Catch a family movie on HBO 2, the classic tale of the adventures of Black Beauty. Or choose drama on HBO 3, Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, Patrick Dempsey with Honors. 3 great choices, 3 different channels. 3 good reasons to watch Saturday night on HBO, the best choice on TV.
You don't need to drive an Indy race car to experience the thrill of the Indy 500. Just enter the ESPN Firestone Indy 500 sweepstakes. You and a guest will go as VIPs to the race, the parade. You'll tour the pit area, attend the driver's meeting, and win all this free Firestone stuff. To enter, visit a participating Firestone retailer or send a postcard with your name, address, and phone number. But hurry, the entry deadline is April 26th.
Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs up top, and Marty Reed down below from Dallas. These 5 riders avoiding the last chance qualifier, making it tonight's main event. Honda of Troy's Mike Brown, Phil Lawrence from the Great Western team, and Damon Bradshaw, Team Yamaha, Larry Ward, Honda of Troy, and Kevin Crine from KTM.
Well, down here in Victory Lane, a very happy Mike Brown. Doesn't look it right now because he knows he's still got one more big main event to go, but great start. We saw you guys fiddling. We talked to Jeff Nutter, your crew chief. He said, it looked like he was checking something on the right grip, but obviously not a problem. You rode a really good race.
Yeah, my bike's running really good. Got off to a good start there, and Nick Warrior, who was behind me, rode my own race and rode like I should have been riding all year long, and hopefully I come out in the main event and do the same thing.
Well, the guys up top were talking about the fact that you were hired to focus on the outdoor season, and now this is victory number 3 in the semis for you. Starting to really feel a little more comfortable?
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence going to the outdoors. I've been doing really good, and my main goal is just to finish in top 5 in the Supercross this year and just keep it consistent in there.
All right, now, what do you do in the main event? This track is really getting slick.
Just trying to keep it on 2 wheels. It's really like it's rained out there, so slick out there. I think just keep it on 2 wheels and ride a hard race, and you'll be up there in the top 5 easy.
There's your heat winner in the semi. It's Mike Brown.
So before we get to the 125 main event, it's a Suzuki riding tip with Tim Ferry.
To be successful in Supercross and motocross, you need to have good turning technique. Let's take a look at one kind of pass known as the block pass. Block passing is a technique you can use to pass another rider, a rider who is going about the same speed as you are. The point of the block pass is to get around your opponent and slow the other rider down a little bit so you can pull away. If the rider in front of you is insisting on going to the outside line through the turn, set up for the block pass by slowing slightly, taking the inside line. However, instead of just holding the shorter, slower inside line, execute the block pass as you exit the corner by drifting to the outside as you accelerate out of the turn. This will block the outside line and make your opponent slow down. The block pass is an important racing technique. Tune in next week. For Team Suzuki, I'm Tim Ferry.
A decade ago, Suzuki unleashed the original GSXR. It created a new category of motorcycle. Win after win, time after time. We never stopped refining. And now the time has come again. The all-new GSX-R 750 is finally here. Because something this fast can't be rushed.
You've heard about it. You've read about it. You're seeing it now. There's only one thing left to do. It's the AMA Supercross. The extreme sport that started it all. Feel the adrenaline rush. April 6th, Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. April 13th, the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And April 20th, Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. The AMA Supercross. If you don't go, you won't know.
How much NBA action can you pack into 1/2 hour? How much can you handle? NBA Tonight, the ultimate half-hour wrap-up of the day that was in the NBA. Tonight at midnight, only on ESPN2.
AMA Supercross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Complete career training for the motorcycle industry. The last chance qualifier for 250s has just concluded with Michael Craig and Buddy Antunez, the last two riders to make the 250 main event. And now we're getting set for an unprecedented season, really, with the East and West matchups going all the way to 4 races this year. One more in St. Louis after this one here at the Texas Stadium in Dallas, Texas. The 125 main, the parade lap is underway. Gentlemen, Kevin Windham back to prove that he's the very best of the 125 hopefuls, but Mikel Pichon looking very strong as we see the Suzuki starting grid.
You know, in the point standings, Windham has a perfect score of 100 points, but he hasn't been in all the races because of his injury. I know that Pichon is competing in the East Region title, for the East Region title, I should say. Windham's racing for the West Region, but let's see those two guys race together. Pichon's been ducking the fight. Maybe tonight's tonight.
Well, every time one gets a good start, the other one doesn't seem to have that much of an advantage, and we have not seen them run really far to bar very much.
I'd sure like to. They had an opportunity to see it in the heat race, and Pichon schooled Windham. Windham was unable to do anything. He was searching around quite a bit. Take a look at Pichon, taking a last look at the racetrack. Windham really didn't find his rhythm. He was coming up short here and there. He was over-jumping stuff. He didn't look like himself. Perhaps he's focusing so much on Pichon. I think he's going to come back a changed rider, though.
We noticed also during the heat races that Pichon had a distinct advantage in the corners. Now, this is different from the track we saw at Houston because we don't have that quadruple jump. And if you guys remember, Windham was gaining about a second a lap jumping and when Pichon didn't. Well, Pichon's jumping everything that Windham is. So other than the corners, they look pretty even.
Mikel Pichon, the defending East champion. John Dowd will be number 7 going to the gate. He's currently 11-point leader in that Eastern division. Kevin Windham, the leader in the West, and Travis Preston, the surprise 18-year-old coming out of qualifying. There's a good shot of John Dowd as he loosens up, getting ready for this 125 main event.
He's lined up on the inside, Art, of both of his competitors, Windham and Pichon, who I think would be his toughest competitors. And the inside in that first corner, if he can get there even, has seemed to have been paying off all night long.
Hey, keep an eye out for what's on the outside, too, because Charlie Bogart's out there, number 145. He's a lightning starter.
Let's go to Marty Reed, trackside.
Guys, you were talking about Kevin Windham. I talked to him just before the start of the race here. He said that what he was going to do was get more aggressive in the corners. My question to you guys up in the booth, was he watching the other races? The corners are getting so slick. How's he going to be too aggressive?
Well, I think that what Windham's going to have to do is exactly what Pichon does and go around a lot of these corners with his feet up on the pegs. Whenever you have to go to the inside, you got to be very careful. It's like riding on eggshells.
30-second board is up as the crowd, they're looking at it, they're pointing. They're anticipating a great matchup here with the 125 main event at Texas Stadium. Round number 9. And this is our third East-West 125 matchup of the season. 30-second board is sideways. 5 to 10 seconds, the gate will drop, and we will be underway. They are off. Kevin Windham, a pretty good start. Mikel Pichon to the inside. Ferry to the outside, number 20. There you see number 1 and number 38 battling it out front. This is what we asked for. Kevin Windham, the good start into the whoop. A clean start for Mikel Pichon in second. Casey Johnson in third.
Oh, this is going to be good. It's complete opposite of the heat race. Pichon is going to have a chance to look at Wyndham. Can he pass him? I don't know. I think this track is very difficult to pass on when you get two riders of equal caliber.
It'll be interesting to see if Wyndham gets more aggressive, how it will react on this slick track. I think we're going to have a great battle.
Yeah, we also have John Dowd to watch out for. That's who Pichon is supposed to be racing in the points. With Dowd so far back, let's see Pichon let it all hang out.
He's definitely going to, and like Marty said, Wyndham's going to try to get more aggressive in the corners, but he's also got to protect his line. Here he comes to that section. Will he go inside or outside?
Wyndham, our leader, going to that straightaway. Boy, you have to be careful with the slick turns in and out of the straightaway. But Pichon is right there.
And these two riders you can see behind him have already opened up a huge lead in one lap, so they're a step above the rest.
Yeah, number 97 is Schnell. He is in third, but Casey Johnson in fourth, and still a long way back is John Dowd.
This is a really good opportunity for Pichon, even if he stays where he is, to pick up perhaps the points lead in the East, but I think he's got his sights set on Kevin Wyndham. He probably has no idea where Dowd is right now.
Well, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, looking back that far. Wyndham is in first with Pichon right on his tail. Schnell third, Johnson fourth. Dobb is fifth. And you got to get back four more riders. There you go, you hit John Dowd. Here comes Mikel Pichon. Not quite bar to bar. To the outside, Pichon to the inside. Wyndham, and it's Pichon taking the lead on the straightaway.
We're back to the same thing. Wyndham is not as good in the tight, slick, hard-packed corners as Pichon is, but he is just as fast down to the whoops.
Well, he had really, he was in a horrible position there because he didn't have the lead that he did in the first lap. He had to protect that inside. And Pichon has got an excellent run on him coming off the berm. So no matter what he would have done, Pichon could have gone in there and stole it away.
Pichon very angry about his Atlanta race where he had the poor showing with the get-off, making it extremely difficult to catch up in points. He went down in practice softly, so he was experimenting as well on this slick track. But he's really concentrating on recapturing at 125 Eastern Championship now. Mikel Pichon, Wyndham, Schnell, Johnson, and Dobb on our field summary.
I'm sorry, Pichon got just far enough in front of Kevin whenever they got to that corner where all the passes take place that he could go outside and didn't have to worry about protecting the inside like that. That's where the pass is going to take place if Wyndham's close enough.
He's got to stay close. He's gaining on him through the whoops. He's fast through there, but he's slower in all the tight stuff. When they come around to the finish line jump, Pichon is faster on that end of the racetrack, and that's the best place to pass, I believe. David, you're right.
Well, the charming Frenchman is 11 points behind John Dowd in the points race, but John Dowd is in 10th position right now.
Looks like Pichon is starting to open up a little bit of a lead. They're coming into that same tricky section. This option is very technical through there, and as the track gets chewed up, it makes it even tougher. This is where Pichon has been pulling away just a little bit. Schnell starting to drop back now in third. Casey Johnson a little bit slow through there and lost some time to Schnell.
Casey Johnson, his best finish was at Seattle, where he came in fifth. Deegan spun out in the corner as we're taking a look at Schnell right now, number 97.
He's got a pretty comfortable lead over Casey Johnson right now. Casey Johnson had an opportunity, it looked like, to win perhaps in San Diego with Wyndham out. Blew it. Crashed a bunch of times. Not too bad right here now in fourth place, though.
Mikel Pichon, our leader, as we're looking back behind Mikel and Kevin Wyndham. Through Schnell in a battle for third. Casey Johnson now wants to do the test on Schnell.
You know, Johnson's one of those guys that Mitch Payton, the pro circuit's found. He's putting a lot of investment into this kid for the future. But it'd be nice to see that kid get on the podium. I think he'll do a lot for his confidence, especially after a slow start this year.
Inside move by Casey Johnson.
Schnell leaves him nowhere to go. Covered that curve. These guys, although they got the helmet on, there's a lot of noise. They're very aware of where everyone is around them.
had an up-and-down season this year. A 12th place in the first race, came back with a second place at Anaheim, and in a 4th place finish, a 7th and a 5th so far on the season. Casey Johnson, what a performance through the whoop by number 58.
And right behind these guys, number 19, Dobb, is starting to pick up the pace, perhaps because these guys have ridden slightly defensive and slowed the pace a little bit, or Dobb's on the move and he's got some good lines. We'll find out in a moment.
And in case you're wondering, Mikel Pichon has opened up a 6-second lead on Kevin Windham in the first and second spots. This is the battle for third. Casey Johnson, along with Schnell and James Dobb. Tim Ferry moving up behind them.
And the way Casey's riding right now, he's starting to find his rhythm. He's picking up the pace, and if Windham made a few mistakes, wouldn't surprise me if this kept up. There's enough time left for Casey Johnson to catch Windham.
Let's go trackside to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, I'm down here with Dave Brumbard. He's writing down some signals for Casey Johnson. Your man's doing very well right now.
Yeah, he's just riding to his plan. Hopefully he'll keep going the way he's going.
Did you guys make any significant changes from the heat race? Because he looked a lot stronger.
No, he's just out there doing his thing.
He's doing it very well, guys.
Mikel Pichon still with a huge lead over Kevin Windham, and Windham is way out in front of this battle for third. This is the significant battle right now with Casey Johnson, Snell, and Dobb, with Ferry closing in.
As I pointed out already, it's tracked by the design because it's so slick. Sometimes it's better to be back. The guys in front of you make mistakes, and you're able to capitalize on it. We saw Button pick up 3 positions in one corner earlier. Perhaps Dobb's not in too bad of a spot right here.
Yeah, one thing about Dobb, he doesn't have a lot of time left on that factory Suzuki. Remember, he's still just filling in.
Pichon is down on the far side. Windham just made the pass. Pichon, though, is up and started once again.
The replay of Atlanta looked like he might have gotten in there and hit a lap rider. Looks like Charlie Bogart's flying on the side. Bogart's not moving.
Bogart, a native of this land of Texas, as Mikel Pichon tries to catch up once again with Kevin Windham.
Well, Pichon's exiting the first corner. He does this little camel jump. The complete blind spot, runs right into the bike. He didn't see the flag. He's paying so much attention to the racetrack. The flagger wasn't in a good enough spot. Once again, that claims Pichon.
That is the exact same thing that happened to Pichon in Atlanta. The flagman was in the wrong position. He's on the outside of the track. Would you think that he would be pointing the other way?
So Kevin Windham, can he win his third East-West matchup? We'll be right back to see the finish of this great 125 main event in a moment.
Right now, check out Honda's Solo promo. With no down payment, you can get the Shadow American Classic Edition for just $202 a month. Or the Red Hot Magna for $157 a month. Even the Shadow BLX for just $119 a month. How low can we go? Try financing as low as 9.9% APR. And no down payment on selected motorcycles and ATVs. Plus, special cash rebates on selected Shadows and all Magnas. So get to your Honda dealer now. We can't stay this low for long. People everywhere are feeling the beat of better health and better looks with Nordic Track. And now, you can get a free video and brochure showing you how you can experience the Nordic Track beat at a lower cost than you ever expected. It's easier on your body and easier on your budget. Get the free facts and find out how you can get the world's most complete fitness workout for just $299.95. That's Nordic Track's famous flywheel design and safe, quality construction at low monthly payments. See why a Nordic Track is the best machine for your cardiovascular health and for overall fitness. Call the number and get your free video and brochure today.
Hey, Vince, there's a big old juicy hunter sitting on an ATV in the mud over there. You suppose he's stuck?
I hope so. I'm starving. Wait a minute. That's a Suzuki King Quad. Selectable 2 or 4-wheel drive, 5-speed transmission, 3-speed sub-tranny. Nah, I've yet to see one get stuck.
Then what's he doing just sitting there?
Looks like he just stopped to...
Reload!
The Suzuki King Quad. More features than your friend's ATV.
Welcome back to Texas Stadium. Mikhail Pichon retakes the lead. We came back just in time as we got a part of our medal with number 38, Kevin Windham of Team Yamaha, and Pro Circuit's Mikhail Pichon. Oh, baby, what a race. Mikhail Pichon, Windham cuts underneath. What a strategy move by Kevin Windham.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I'm not used to seeing Pichon do things like that. He just pulled the trigger. That was a hit he was getting ready to take. Fortunately, he didn't make contact. We are in for it now.
Look at here, number 58, Casey Johnson of Pro Circuit is right up there and could be a big factor for first place.
And what a ride from Pichon to crash like that, get up, stay in contact with Windham, who's been so awesome all year, make the pass. He's got to be tired right now. All these guys, the nerves have got to be high.
Kevin Windham into the big triple. Pichon, Casey Johnson. Casey Johnson has showed us moments of brilliance throughout the season.
Oh, he's got a real opportunity right now to shine.
Here he goes, Mikhail Pichon. He block passes Windham. Windham looks back for Casey Johnson and retains his second place spot.
That's the most technical place on the racetrack. I've already pointed it out.
Oh, here comes Johnson. Bar to bar, but Windham with the inside track. Casey Johnson with the momentum. And we've got two Pro Circuit Spitfires out in front.
You know, Windham is just helpless in that corner, and it's not his fault. He's got all the talent in the world. But when you get into a corner like that, there's nothing you can do. And we see right now he's going to take it back on the whoops.
Casey Johnson with good position, though. Mikhail Pichon is getting a chance now to break away a little bit.
And Pichon almost hit Rusty Holland coming out of that corner. He missed him by about 2 inches. Almost got it taken out by a lapper again.
Our Suzuki Field summary: Pichon, Johnson, Windham, Schnell, and Daub, our top 5. But what a race for second place now. Windham is seeing a race of a career in front of him. Casey Johnson, number 58.
Yeah, I wonder if that's demoralized Windham to be passed 2 or 3 times like that by Pichon, because now you see Greg Schnell and James Daub have come right up behind him. Windham needs to regroup here and get it back together.
Meanwhile, number 1, Mikhail Pichon has got a big lead.
That's unbelievable to me. This kid is on fire tonight. Everything is right. He came in here angry after what happened to him in Atlanta. He was racing pretty much for the points in the East, and like Davey had pointed out, he wasn't really racing against Windham. Tonight, he is on fire. He's untouchable.
Like he told us earlier, he has to win this one. Not only just for his confidence, but for prestige and going into the 250 ranks next year.
And where he's standing right now, he's going to pass John Dowd. John Dowd's back at 6th place. I'm not sure, but I think that's going to give Pichon the points in the 125 East if things don't change. And Dowd's got a long way to go before he catches this battle right here between Schnell and Daub.
Dowd has moved up into 5th place. And is actually in 6th place. My correction. Pichon across the finish line. Then it's Casey Johnson, Kevin Windham, and then Schnell. There's number 1.
And Pichon is so good. He's been riding around these corners standing up. Feet on the pegs.
Here's the Honda stopwatch. Let's check him coming out of the whoops. Pichon. Casey Johnson, 3.8 behind. Windham, almost 6 seconds behind. And Daub, 9.4. With Dowd, 12.9.
It's pretty close. I mean, we consider these are all the fastest guys in this class. This is the closest race we've seen all year. But it doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to touch Pichon.
As we check the Honda stopwatch for a lap time, it'll be interesting to see what kind of speeds they're getting on this very, very slick track.
You know, I was making a big deal earlier about how well Pichon is able to go through the corners. And David, you can back me up on this. Jean-Michel Bell, the last Frenchman to come over here and kind of rule the sport. That guy could ride without a berm better than anybody. We're seeing Pichon do the same thing.
Well, right here, he's going to elect to use the berm because it's the fastest way to get up down that straightaway. He's got the luxury of having a little bit of lead going out there. But you're right, Davey. He can go around the inside. He can go around the out. He can go anywhere he wants. He's got that finesse to keep that bike in a nice little slide, make it hook up.
On a track like this, a 101.4 is great.
McGrath was running a minute lap time in the heat race on a 250. So I believe on a 125, it's definitely a disadvantage in terms of an overall lap time. He's going fast.
Back in fourth place, we've got a battle. Dobb trying to get around Schnell. It's Dobb number 19 and Schnell number 97.
You know, we're seeing the same thing we saw in the lead earlier. Those two guys are messing with each other, and John Dowd's been able to sneak up right behind him. Schnell and Dobb are both riding defensively, trying to hold on those positions, and it's allowed Dowd to get right up in there with them.
And this battle, it looks like it's starting to, they're catching up to Wyndham.
Yeah, let's see what happens after the finish line.
White flag lap, Mikel Pichon with a huge lead over Kevin Wyndham and Casey Johnson. Look at the battle now as Dowd took a little front part of that tabletop and comes down hounding Dobb.
He was just too far behind right there to make that dive to the inside and do any damage to Dobb's front wheel.
Well, Dowd was pretty close to these guys coming to the finish line jump. He's lost a little bit more spread out than they were, but he's gaining it back in the whoops, and a great opportunity for him to pass a couple guys on the last lap, gain some valuable points in that 125 each.
On the last lap, it's a walk in the park for this guy, putting the fist in the air. He says, I have finally done it.
Who is that guy, and where did he get those clothes? He is riding completely differently than he has in our other East-West matchups.
Well, he can cruise around these corners up to the finish line. Doesn't have very far to go now. He knows he's got it.
The checkers for Mikel Pichon from Le Mans, France. Casey Johnson with his best performance of Supercross career in the second place. Kevin Wyndham in third. Look at the battle here. Schnell and Dobb just nips Dobb.
Well, I think that Pichon just took the points lead in the 125 East Regional standings. He won that race straight up, and he got what he needed. He needed Dowd to finish back there, and it happened.
With Dobb nipping Dowd at the finish line, I believe. We'll have to check the official standings, but here is the victor and a very happy one in the East-West matchups. 2 for Wyndham, and now 1 for Mikel Pichon. We'll be right back with those official standings from Texas Stadium and the 125 main event winner with Marty Reed right after these words.
It's over 8 feet long, and most of it's chrome. You can't wait. Valkyrie, May 25th.
You've heard about it. You've read about it. You're seeing it now. There's only one thing left to do. Live it. The AMA Supercross. The extreme sport that started it all. Feel the adrenaline rush. April 6th, Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. April 13th, the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And April 20th, Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. The AMA Supercross. If you don't go, you won't know.
Fact, it'll rain the day after you wash the car. Fact, you will never date a supermodel. Fact, you can't get a great deal on a great bike. Wow! Well, fact this. Right now, during Suzuki Fest 96, you can pick up a new V-Twin Intruder 1400 or a stunning RF 900R for only 9.9% APR. And we'll top it out with $300 toward your choice of added accessories. Free! But you better hurry. Suzuki Fest 96 ends April 30th. Oh yeah, one more fact. There's always lots of legal stuff at the end of a commercial.
Don't get the classes I want. Won't graduate on time. Can't believe they're raising tuition. This is not working. But this will. Classes I need to graduate on time, and no surprises about tuition. Works for me.
Call ITT Technical Institute at 1-800-942-0099. That's 1-800-942-0099.
Mikel Pichon, after this mishap, came back with finesse and strategy and a lot of guts to win his first East-West matchup. Gentlemen, Mikel Pichon, Casey Johnson, Kevin Wyndham, Greg Schnell, and James Dobb are top 5 here in the 125 from Texas. Right now with Mikel Pichon, here's Marty.
I got to tell you guys, I could see the smile underneath the helmet. Take us through. You didn't see the crash that took you down, did you?
No, I didn't see it. I jumped like I did the lap before, and I didn't see the guy. I jumped, and I got lucky because I hit his front pro, so I didn't got a big crash, and I could start maybe like 3 or 4 seconds after that crash. But when I stand up, it got me very tired. So I was very tired, and I didn't know if I could pass Kevin again.
You look great through the corners, though.
Yeah, I was very aggressive tonight. I wanted to win. I wanted this win. Kevin won the two first East and West Coast, and I really wanted to win, and I felt good. Everything was okay, very good.
Well, you did. Great job. Congratulations. Let's move over here. Casey Johnson, come in here. Best finish in Supercross history. Got to talk to you. That was a heck of a ride.
Man, I felt really good out there. I got a pretty good start for once, and I just rode smooth, getting the pit board telling me to relax and just, follow them guys, learn from them a little bit. And I did that. They're out there battling stuff with each other, which allowed me to get a little closer. And then Kevin, I think, got a little tired, and I kind of moved in and got second. I'm real happy.
Well, congratulations. Great run. Let me bring Kevin in here. Probably the only guy in the top 3 that's not real happy. It just looked like you couldn't make it through the corners smoothly.
Yeah, I've been having trouble with the track all day. Casey and Mikael, they were just, man, riding an unbelievable pace. And, the track's a little slick, and I was pumping up a little bit and holding on too tight, and these guys just seemed to have a flow that, just I couldn't hang with.
Well, you're leading 2-1 in your head-to-head matchups, and still one more to go.
Yeah, well, at least, I was the first West guy across the finish line, but, yeah, we're going to move to the 250s for the next couple races and give me a little time to think about what went wrong tonight, maybe work on it for the next East-West.
Well, there's your top 3, Art. 2 out of 3 are kind of happy.
That's right, Marty. Mitch Payton's pretty happy, too. Head guy at Pro Circuit, split fired. His number 1 and number 2 riders up there. The unofficial tally here in the booth now. And we did it very quickly, but John Dowd still holds the 125 East Point lead by 1 point over Mikael Pichon. But they've got some races left, that's for sure. Over in the 125 West, Wyndham 120 points to Dobbs 105. So Wyndham looks like he might suck that title away. The championship celebration is underway, and when we return, it's a run for the big bucks. Can Jeremy McGrath make it 9 in a row? The 250 main event is next.
Hit hard. Maxwell hit to right. The throw to second. Goodbye. Out at the plate. Jordan is running. Tucker throws. Ryan, his 4th of the year. Fly ball, deep left center. See you later. Home run, Jordan.
Is so much fun to drive. What would you possibly want to stop for?
Boy, that's a first.
Supercross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Dunlop. Simply the best for your bike. Welcome back to Texas Stadium. The highlight of the evening is before us as the 250 main event just about set. The riders are on their parade lap. I'm Art Eckman along with David Bailey and Davey Coombs. Jeremy McGrath. Boy, this crowd got excited during the qualifying. Heats. Can he win another one and keep that string alive?
I think so. From what we saw in the heat race, he won by about 15 seconds, and I don't see any reason why not, but there's a lot of guys that can challenge. Ryan Hughes, Jeff Emick, these guys are very aggressive. They're tired of Jeremy winning all the races. And the track design, sometimes it's worse to be in the lead because of the strategy out there.
Not only that, but also the track composition has proved to be problems in the qualifying heats, Davey.
Yeah, but still, I wouldn't vote against the Dallas Cowboys in this stadium. I'm not going to vote against Jeremy here either.
Speaking Talking about track conditions, let's go down trackside to Marty Reed.
Well, you guys talked about track conditions. We're going to show it to you. It is as hard as concrete. That is black rubber that you're seeing on the landing zone of the finish line jump, and it is as slick as asphalt with water on it. Now, we talked to Skip Norfolk. He is the mechanic for Jeremy McGrath. Well, sometimes your mechanic can give you an advantage. They have saved a soft compound Dunlap tire. They only have 2 of them for this race. They're also lowering the pressure. They've gone somewhere between a low of 10 pounds and a high of 14. He wouldn't give us that trade secret, but he's trying to get more traction down on the corner. And it could be the difference off the starting line and through the corner.
Okay, Marty, as we look here at the Suzuki starting grid, Jeremy McGrath, of course, Jeff Emig, who dearly wants to pressure McGrath here tonight. Mike LaRocco, Brown, Huffman, Phil Lawrence, Greg Albertine making our main event once again. Jeremy McGrath had such what he called a fun time here last year, 1995, in the mud, where he came from last to 4th place by the 2nd lap.
Yeah, you know, that was one of the statement races for McGrath last year. No one thought he could ride in the mud. He shows up here, he finishes 2nd, and the series is pretty much clinched at that point. He proved he can do it in the dry, in the rough, in the mud, everything. Tonight, we'll see if he can do it on cement.
Skip Norfolk shouting instructions.
Brand new tires for everybody. These guys change tires between they change them at the halfway point if they could without losing too much time. And I already pointed out that they put grooves in those knobbies to try to get any more edges they can to try to hook up out there.
Jeff Emig, as you saw him there, crashed in the 2nd lap in the mud last year to 14th and then came back for an 11th place finish. He would love to get things going. And something is wrong with Emig's bike.
Oh, he's raising his hand. Usually when they do, there's something in front of the gate. He's just pointing to somebody. You're not allowed as a rider to go out in front of that starting gate and move anything. And when people walk around out there, camera crews, cables, and whatnot, they could have moved a dirt slide right into his path, and he doesn't like it.
It looked like a tear-off.
If that'll interrupt your concentration, I don't think a tear-off would do anything to the traction, but you don't want to look at it.
Yeah, especially with the lights coming down. The reflection might make you just jump just a second early on the gate. Can't afford a bad start against McGrath.
Okay, this crowd is starting to stand on their feet as the 30-second board is up. The goggles go on. It is time to get that adrenaline pumping, David Bailey.
Well, you don't have to do anything to get it pumping. It's already there. The parade lap, even if you come to the starting line asleep, the parade lap gets it going. The crowd's into it. The riders next to you. There's so much talent.
And the crowd erupts in applause. Waiting now in anticipation. Okay, from 5 to 10 seconds, and we're ready to go. Inside, Larry Ward, number 6. On the outside is Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk, Yogi with his 2nd hole shot. But look at Jeremy McGrath. McGrath taking the lead out of turn 1. It's then Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, Phil Lawrence, Buddy Antonez, and Michael Craig.
So a great start for Larry Ward, but a horrible start for Doug Henry. He was last place around the first corner, and right now he's in about 17th or 18th, side by side with Damon Huffman.
Michael Craig, more bad luck, stalls out in the far turn as Jeremy McGrath hits the monster triple with Larry Ward right behind him.
And the guys that we would expect to get up there and challenge Jeremy, the guys that have been putting the pressure on this year, Emig and Hughes. Emig is in 4th, and Hughes about 7th or 8th right now. So a big break for McGrath, like he needed one.
It'll be interesting to see as he looks back on the finish line jump, David.
Now, this kid is so smart. He knows what to do. He went up in the air, left himself that option. He jumped it in about the middle, looked over his shoulder, knew he had the space, and he went to the outside.
Larry Ward in 2nd, and Ezra Lusk, but here comes Jeff Emig, number 2 on the left.
And problems for LaRocco continue. He got tangled up with Denny Stevenson. Now he's in 19th place.
Ezra Lusk, number 34. You wouldn't have think that starting the season finishing 16th, 10th, and 15th, and missing one race with an injured back, he'd still be in the top 10. But this is a good ride for number 34 after an excellent week last week.
We're back to one of those things where this guy's racing for his job right now. He knows he's not going to win the title, but to get on the podium would make all the difference in the world to Ezra.
Here's the battle between Emig and Phil Lawrence, number 13, the tough privateer. Phil Lawrence getting the edge on Emig.
Well, what happened was Emig went in and tried to make a pass on Ezra Lusk. He lost a little bit of time. Lawrence was there, battled with him through that mechanics area and passed him. So Lawrence is on the gas. He's got a great opportunity. He can see McGrath, not that far behind.
McGrath already with a 2.5-second lead on Larry Ward. Lusk and Ward battling it out for second. And this is the battle for third or fourth.
This is what we see all the time. McGrath gets the whole shot. It's like someone shot him out of a gun. He's gone. He knows that right now he can win this race if he just gets away. Then it's left to him. It's in his hands. Emig, if he has any chance at all, he's going to have to pass Lawrence and two other guys.
And by the time he can do that, if he can, McGrath will have he's already been opening it up at about a half a second a lap. You can bet that's going to be even bigger.
McGrath into that dangerous corner. Makes it look easy.
Well, he can afford to take his time just a little bit on this slick surface and not make any mistakes. And Davey, as you pointed out, I mean, from here, I don't see anybody that can challenge it.
In second place, number 6, Honda of Troy's Larry Ward with Ezra Lusk in third. And then we've got Lawrence, Emig, and Hughes until we get back to Mike Brown. Here's second and third, though, Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk. The only battle on the track right now that means anything.
Well, Larry Ward is pretty good on this hard-packed surface. Ezra Lusk rides a little bit more in the clay. Lawrence, coming from California, I think would have an advantage out here. His practice track is almost exactly like this one in terms of the surface, that hard-packed slick stuff.
Our Suzuki Field summary has, of course, McGrath out in the lead. McGrath, while he has the lead, Larocco, a former competitor, was last place after the first lap.
Oh, it's just been a horrible year. It started off not too bad for Larocco, but it's just gotten worse and worse. Now it's just all bad luck.
Oh, we've got a real battle forming up between Hughes and Emig back in the pack as we see Ward in second place along with Ezra Lusk in third. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Down with Sean Persinger. This is the best your man's run in a long time. He's looking good.
Yeah, Seattle, he got the whole shot and led the first 10 laps right after he broke his thumb and then got tired. So now he's been riding for the last month and a half since Seattle and been getting back into racing form. So hopefully he'll be able to hold up there a little bit longer and come out with a podium.
Your last signal to him was your race. Do you think he can actually catch him up front?
Right now, with Jeremy out front, unless he has a problem, I don't know, because nobody's done it all year. So hopefully he'll be able to keep it up and not worry about who's behind him right now.
And the signal goes out. No pressure. No pressure from Lusk in third place.
Yeah, we're seeing no pressure out in front, too, in Jeremy McGrath as he's searching for his 9th consecutive victory. And this is a battle for 5th place right now. As we mentioned earlier, Jeff Emig is getting some hounding from that rival of his, Ryan Hughes. And, of course, you got to go back to last week.
Well, of course, and I think that's just an unfortunate situation that took place. Hughes just going for it. He was in a similar situation he is right here. Maybe a little bit faster than Emig. Wanted to get around and just the front end washed out. You can bet he learned from that. That won't happen again.
Well, both riders with a very professional attitude coming out of that mishap last week. Emig, a professional attitude, admitting that he's been just as aggressive and expects it in return.
Well, it looks like Hughes is going to go by him clean this time. Rhino has been faster than Emig all year long through the whoops. We just saw right there that he was able to do it.
Let's get down to Marty Reed with Wyatt.
Well, Wyatt's got a sign out there that says, Jeremy away, get going. What do you got to get him to do here? He's got his hands full right now.
Finally, he got by Emig, so hopefully he picked the pace up a little bit. I mean, Jeremy out front again, riding smooth, and it seems like once he gets a little breathing room, he just seems to go faster. So I'm just trying to get Ryan pumped up. Hopefully pick off a little ground. Hey, get him in a second, I'd be happy right now.
That's Wyatt Seals.
Okay, in 5th place, Ryan Hughes, number 5, with Emig now moving back to 6th place. Jeremy McGrath, our leader. It's been McGrath from the start out of turn 1, even though there were 3 riders who had a chance to come out of turn 1 on top. Jeremy made it through. We're looking back at the pack now at Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, number 34, and number 13 is Lawrence, with Hughes on the run in 5th place.
And Hughes is fast to that whoop section. He's gaining time right there. He's already pulled away from Emig. And I think the only place he's doing it is through the whoop section. That's where he's going to be able to make a pass if he can.
Jeremy McGrath, Ward, Lusk, Lawrence and Hughes, our Suzuki Field summary. As we check out Ezra Lusk trying to hold on to that position. Ezra with good speed.
Yeah, and we've noticed all night long that every time someone tries to effect a pass on the guy in front of him, he ends up opening the door to the people behind him. Lusk gets close to Larry Ward, only to have Lawrence and now Hughes come right up behind him.
McGrath has been opening up. He's got about a 9-second lead now. About a second a lap he's gaining on Larry Ward. It's stayed the same there for a while. But I think right now Larry Ward's a little bit more concerned with Lusk than he is with McGrath.
McGrath making it look easy as we take a look at the Honda stopwatch to check out the interval. As we come out of these whoops, we'll check it for you. Larry Ward at 7.3 and Hughes at about 10.2.
Well, I think Hughes' only prayer at this point is to try to get past this cluster of riders and finish second. That would be a good ride for him, and it's totally possible. But his chances of catching McGrath, I don't think it's going to happen.
Doesn't seem to matter what kind of surface, what kind of configuration, Jeremy McGrath seems the victor.
Oh, he's just a maestro. You know, we watch him every weekend, and we try to think of something new, some kind of strategy someone could come up with or whatever. This guy's got an answer for everything. I mean, that's what we should start calling him, the answer.
The track builders came out with, oh, let's make it better part of our racing. Make the tracks a little easier, better passing, long whoops. Let's see if that'll jar Jeremy a bit. Didn't have any effect.
No, and once they realized that Huffman was faster than he was in Seattle in the whoop section, they started putting in a lot of whoop sections, and then Jeremy just got better at it. 101, the same lap times as the 125. So
That's
I think
amazing.
he's cruising.
He's just cruising right now. Well, then the track builder said, let's make it more difficult. In Houston, no less than 20 riders hit the dirt in Houston, not Jeremy McGrath. Well, Jeremy, during his win streak, has been good about taking one race at a time, and that doesn't mean that between his race routine stayed the same. This week, there was a big change.
I didn't go home back to California. I stayed in Dallas here. A friend of mine, you know, Grayson Goodman, and we hung out and had a great time and rode and did all the things that I normally do at home, but I just did it here. And it's not so fun to stay back when you don't have any friends in the town, but I had a great time.
Jeremy McGrath. They used to call him Showtime. They're going to call him Perfect pretty soon. You know, we started talking last week about what would have been unthinkable before the season started for any rider. And that is, can one rider win all the Supercross races in 1 year? Well, after Dallas, the possibility was there to think about it. Should he win here tonight, that possibility just gets stronger. It's like a no-hit pitcher going into the 6th inning now instead of the 5th.
Yeah, it's getting deeper and deeper, and we don't want to be the ones that jinx it, but, you know, I don't know what else we could possibly do. Just mess Jeremy's momentum up. He's going so well. And then you get guys like Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk, you see on your screen right there. These guys are running second, third. They're not even the ones we're supposed to be up there challenging McGrath. The other guy
currently in 3rd place.
He's improved 1 over last week, finishing 4th in Houston, but now you can see just behind him, number 5, Ryan Hughes. It's moved around Lawrence. Hughes is the one that's on the move, I think, right now, and they're approaching that whoop section here momentarily. That's where he's been gaining all his time.
Ezra, who had an injury-riddled year last year in his first season in 250s, was coming off, of course, a 125 championship. And he won that championship early right here at Dallas, at Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I know Suzuki's just waiting for him to take that momentum he had. He was such a sensational 125-er. He's just been having a real hard time adapting. It's going to take him another year, maybe 2 years, but he doesn't have that much time. He's had enough chances.
Ed Longacre, his mechanic, clapping him on, but look at this rivalry coming on right now. Ryan Hughes has made a move from 6th place and now is challenging Ezra Lusk.
Last time Lusk went to the mechanics area, Longacre put on the board, push him. He was talking about Larry Ward. I don't think Lusk is thinking about Larry Ward anymore. Brian Hughes is breathing down his neck.
Ryan Hughes cutting to the inside. Oh, he almost had 3rd place.
I don't think that was the best place for him to try to effect a pass, because you know what? It's after the finish line where you do your passing.
Don't you think it was just showing him that wheel, telling him, hey, I'm here?
Well, he was, but
I think to get nervous.
It would have been smarter for Ryan to try to stay close to him, so when they got to the whoop section where he's fast, he might be able to make a pass. Too far away to make it happen this lap.
In case you just joined us here for the 250 main from Texas Stadium, it's Jeremy McGrath once again way out in front.
Hughes keeping the pressure on Lusk. And now that that's happened, they both lost time over Larry Ward. So Larry Ward is really putting in a fine ride. We heard that from his mechanic, he led in Seattle, but at that point, his comeback really from that wrist injury, he wasn't 100%. He faded. Right now, he still looks pretty strong.
Yeah, Larry Ward had a lot of pressure of him going into the season after he finished second last year. He's the vice champion of the 95 Supercross Series, but now he's got nothing to lose. He's blown any chance of the title with the injury. That was an unfortunate thing. Now he's got nothing better to do but try and get as many podium finishes as he can. Tonight would be his first of the year.
Okay, let's go down trackside to Marty Reed. Who you got, Marty?
I'm down there with Ed Longacre. Ed, you keep telling your man to go get Larry Ward, but it looks like he's got his hands full with Ryan Hughes.
Well, I just need to keep him focused to race forward, not worry about who's behind him right now. That's basically all he needs to do.
Well, that's Ed Longacre's strategy, but I'll tell you guys, they're going toe-to-toe out there.
Absolutely. Ryan Hughes, after bobbling a little bit earlier on the track, is coming back on last. Phil Lawrence, incidentally, running in 6th position, went down and lost another spot. Here comes Ryan Hughes on the inside of the triple. Bar to bar. Lusk looks over to him and gives away.
Well, what set that up was a little mistake by Lusk, exiting that mechanics area, getting ready for that little tricky triple there. Got sideways in some of that blue groove stuff, opened up the door for Hughes. Now I think there's enough time for Hughes to catch Larry Ward. He's a little faster.
Hughes in a podium position right now. He has 2 other podiums this year, a 3rd place last week in Houston and a 3rd place in San Diego, when he had a 17th place start and made it all the way back to the podium. The 22-year-old from Escondido, California. That's just outside of San Diego.
Seems like Hughes has been around for a long time. It's hard to believe he's only 22 years old, but that's good news, though. He's got a lot of years left. We can bet he's going to get up there and get it figured out and challenge Jeremy. They ride together a little bit. They're friends. And it'd be kind of cool probably for Ryan and for Jeremy if he could get around Larry Ward. They could go 1-2 here.
You know, using your imagination now, because things are so spread out, it's a situation where Ryan Hughes or anyone with the track looking like almost like asphalt, anything could happen when you get around some of the lappers.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, again, Jeremy's so smooth, so confident, he doesn't make the mistakes.
Wyatt Seals, Ryan Hughes mechanic, kind of had a stare right there. Damon Huffman hitting a hay bale near us as Ryan Hughes in front of Ezra Lusk, but Ezra's not letting him go.
No, he's not, and Wyatt's got to be pleased with Ryan's progress. I mean, he did come from pretty far behind, but it's the same story again. He just couldn't get off the line, and when he does get off the line, he makes that mistake. So no matter what, he always is having to come from behind and never gets a real good look at Jeremy.
I wonder if Rhino spent too much time behind Ezra, though, to even catch up to Larry Ward now, because Larry Ward seems to have relaxed a little bit. He was riding a little tense there for a while, but now that he's got some ground, it's hard to make up time on this track.
One wonders in a main event like this if Larry Ward has the endurance. Larry Ward making a little slip going into the corner as we take a look at our leader right now, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath is lapping Doug Henry. That's nothing against Doug Henry. He's coming back from an amazing surgery from a broken back last year. Jeremy McGrath pretty well taking it easy, timing everything to his liking.
Well, he's just got the automatic pilot on right now. He's able to hit his lines. He's taking his time. A moment ago, we saw the yellow flags, and Jeremy completely backed off to wait, make sure what the situation was before he went forward. That's a smart thing.
Ryan Hughes is picking up on Larry Ward coming out of those whoops.
I think the smart thing for Larry Ward right here is that, do your best. Don't try to push it too hard. And if Hughes is faster, well, that's just the way it goes. Get a 3rd. You're still on the podium, and you're building confidence for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it looks like Art was exactly right. Larry doesn't seem to have the fitness now. I thought that he'd relax, but that one mistake we saw down here in the corner earlier, that really cost him.
Going into that dangerous turn right there was where he made that mistake, and Ryan Hughes picks up some time on him once again. So here is our battle for 2nd place. Ryan Hughes gunning for his best position so far this year.
Let's see if this time Hughes...
Ryan Hughes cutting inside. Sorry, Davey.
That's okay. I was going to say, let's see if this time Hughes can get a wheel in front of him instead of waiting at the finish line. It worked perfect. Ward's having a great ride, but Hughes is just much faster and much more confident right now.
Ryan Hughes in the best position of the season for him now as he tries to climb up the points ladder. We're going to leave this main event from the 250 action of Texas Stadium with Jeremy McGrath, Hughes, Ward, Lusk, and Emig, the order. Right after these words, we'll be back.
These are no ordinary races. These are no ordinary riders. And this was no ordinary year. Honda, not your ordinary motorcycles.
Finest drivers in the world's fastest cars.
Welcome back to the hard pack of Texas Stadium for Supercross round. And it is Jeremy McGrath way out in front. Right now, we're looking at the second-place rider to the left of your screen. Now coming over the finish line jump, Ryan Hughes, followed by Larry Ward. This would also, of course, be the best finish of the season for Larry Ward after a phenomenal year last year, in which he became the first privateer or independent team rider to place as high as second place on the season standings.
That was a phenomenal run for Larry Ward last year, but a lot of pressure coming into this season, and the injury didn't help matters much. And you know, that's what really impresses me about McGrath, is the fact that year after year, with the pressure, with the expectation, with the law of averages, really, what's he do to keep motivated? The guy keeps on winning not only the championships, but every single race. It's a phenomenon, really.
You don't get your idea of how high these guys fly off those triples from up above, but we had a nice camera shot down below. It's the white flag lap, Jeremy McGrath.
Yeah, I noticed Jeremy just lapped Greg Albertine, who crashed earlier. You know, we were joking around earlier, if Albertine were a country and he had this kind of luck, he would be king.
Well, now it's pretty close in that battle for second right here. Ryan Hughes got around Larry Ward, probably felt like, well, that's the end of that. Larry Ward has not let him get away. He's within striking distance in the final lap.
Ezra Lusk is gunning for fourth. You know, a win here in Dallas could eliminate 1/3 of the riders who have scored points this year. Only 11 riders with 6 races remaining have a mathematical chance at winning the title, as Jeremy McGrath has simply dominated this season with a perfect record. The last lap for Jeremy McGrath. Hughes still in second, Ward in third, with Lusk in fourth.
McGrath jumping completely over that tabletop jump, still on the final lap.
Jeremy McGrath would become the first rider, and has become the first rider to win 2 here at Texas Stadium in the 5-year history of the event here in Texas. And so it's Hughes in second, Ward in third, Lusk in fourth. It looked like Emig in fifth and Lawrence in sixth, with Huffman coming up to seventh. So the sore wrist really hampering Damon Huffman during today's race.
Also a horrible start, too, nearly dead last. Bradshaw, bad start. Henry, a bad start. Although Henry was up to 10th early in the race and slipped back. So still not up to speed physically, I don't think. McGrath has got to be stoked. 9 in a row. And as you saw him come across the finish line, Lusk looked a little disappointed with slipping from third to fourth.
McGrath getting a victory here in his first 250 season in 1993. Crashed in the last lap with MK in 94. Had a horrible start in the mud in 95, but finished second, but has come back with a victory to keep his streak alive. And we'll be hearing words of wisdom from number 1 when we get back to Texas Stadium.
Would you do this to a leather sofa? Of course not, but we can fix it like new. Introducing Liquid Leather. It will make that ruined sofa, that damaged briefcase, this torn leather jacket all like new again. A high-tech urethane compound combines with perfectly blended colors to fill in even the deepest gash. Cover it with this special grain paper and let it dry. The damage is repaired. You get all the colors you need, along with an easy-to-follow mixing chart that shows you how to perfectly match any color. Just apply and let dry. Liquid Leather can save you hundreds, but through HSN Direct, it's only $19.95. Use your credit card and get Insta-Fabric absolutely free. It repairs rips, tears, and burns in any fabric or upholstery. Supplies are limited, so call now.
Call 1-800-662-1700 or send $19.95 plus $4.95 delivery to Liquid Leather, P.O. Box 2978, Framingham, Massachusetts.
AMA Supercross on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and ATVs. Get to your dealer now for the lowest deals of the year. And by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Just another tribute to a great champion as Jeremy McGrath wins his 9th consecutive Supercross in 9 tries. Ryan Hughes, his best finish of the year. Larry Ward, his best finish of the year in 3rd place. And Ezra Lusk equaling his best finish of the year. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, they call him Rhino, but he was like a bull in a china shop. What a comeback there. And we talked to Wyatt. He said, hey, he'd be real pleased if you came home 2nd. Congratulations.
Yeah, I kind of got a bad start, but I just tried riding real smooth. I just followed everybody until I knew a place to pass, and that worked out. I just didn't try forcing anything. I just waited each lap until I knew where I could pass them, and it worked.
Well, congratulations on 2nd place. Let's talk to the man with another notch on the belt, number 38. The record just keeps going and going. How much? We talked about the tires right before the start of the race. How much did that change help?
Well, we made a big change. We went to a different Dunlop tire, and my tires were working great. I mean, I didn't slide out there, none. I mean, the track was real slick, and I felt really consistent the whole 20 laps, and I think that's for sure what did it for me.
Well, in that case, we'll just give Skip Norfolk all the credit then and say it was lousy riding, right?
Well, I was riding all right, but Skip and Cliff and Wes and Mike and Jeff, Hugh, all those guys do a great job for me back in the pits, and I know I'm the lone rider here this week, and Steve's out with his foot injury, but hopefully he'll be back in here, and we'll get him up on here too.
I guarantee you guys, this man on my left is no lousy rider. It's like watching Michael Jordan play basketball. Good job.
Okay, thanks, Marty. Congratulations to Jeremy McGrath, who now has 225 points, way out in front of the point standings with Huffman at 160 and Emig trailing at 140. But Ryan Hughes, according to my unofficial tally, could have moved up into the top 10. Or I mean, I should say the top 5 with his performance in 2nd place here today. Gentlemen, final comment?
Well, I think the series, or at least the race to the championship, is just about over. Let's see who can beat Jeremy first.
Art Ekman for David Bailey and Davey Coombs and Marty Reed. Join us next week for round 10 from Marty's hometown as we visit the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. So long, everybody.